Yes, today we have Dan here, an old military mate, comrade, upto, fellow commando and all this stuff. And I haven't seen him in 13 years. And it's, what was it, from our last tour. Yeah. And we're just going to catch up and see what he's been up to and hear about his journey. So nice to have you here today, Dan.
And you, dude, thanks for coming down. It's been a long time.
It's okay. Yeah, it's been like
2010, mate.
Yeah, it has. I never actually asked you, why did you join the Armour?
I was at Freshers' Fair at uni.
Yeah.
And a guy I knew was in Marines uniform. Come up to me, he's like, "Do you still run, Dan?" I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Mate, you would love the Marines." And that was literally it.
You know, I can't, you know what?
So I ended up going to train him that week. And then I was like, shit, I get paid for this.
I see
And it was a bit of a no-brainer.
Was you in uni then at that time?
Yeah.
Okay. Where did you study in uni?
Geography.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a complete accident.
Where you studied geography?
No, going in the Marines.
Oh, okay. Alright.
It's just literally circumstance. Walking through Freshers' Fair. Not particularly... I looked at joining the athletics club and didn't really get on with anyone. And then I saw...
What uni did you go to?
Portsmouth.
For me, it was... I was standing up in Brixton on Frontline with my cousins and a bunch of other drug dealers. Somebody just got out of jail. This is how it is in South London, you see. Somebody just got out of jail and some were talking about how they're shooting guns on the weekend and throwing grenades.
Yeah.
I was thinking, what?
That sounds right.
Yeah. So I thought, for once, I'm paying attention to their stories. It's not about kidnap and robbing other people and all that. And it turned out they talk about I called my cousin's coming over. I said, what are you talking about? He said, we talk about doing the army. I said, what army? He said, yeah, we did the assault course and all this, and they let us throw grenades and shoot. And I thought, if this uneducated lot can do stuff, they always told me as the Buffy as a crew, I can do it. So I said, take me to this place. And he took me to the TA, and I never looked back.
Yeah.
And it's just like that. What was your first impression when you joined, when you came into the Armour Centre?
I went to Portsmouth first, and it was pretty small. There wasn't that many guys there. It was a bit of a shock, to be honest.
Okay. How so?
I think being spoke to in that way never really happened to me before. And I think going from... I had a good school life, did a lot of sport, got on with everyone, teachers, everything. For me, going through school was an absolute breeze. And then all of a sudden, I'm in a massively different environment, getting shouted at, thinking, what's going on? But I didn't mind it. It was just a shock.
So you just
I quite quickly adapted.
Yeah, adapt and overcome.
Yeah.
So when did you decide this was for you?
I wouldn't say it ever was for me.
But you stayed though.
I did stay.
You saw it through, you went further than I went.
Yeah. I see it now as an amazing experience, and I learnt a lot, but to me that was just a small section of my life that has then led on to greater and better things. To me. I never ever saw it as a career.
Would you change, knowing what you know now, would you change anything?
Nothing.
Okay. So you're happy you did it?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Okay.
I'm glad I didn't stay. I'm glad I did it. And I'm also glad the route I did it.
Mhm.
I personally have zero regrets.
Okay. So you decided you're going to start doing. You're going to be committed.
Yeah.
Was it actually a conscious decision to be committed, or was it just, well, I'm going there? So I'm
What,
going
to the
RMI?
to the Marine,
Yeah.
to the RMR?
Yeah.
I think I did always and still relatively competitive, and I think when I got there and they start talking about getting your green lid and how much of an achievement it is, I was like, well, obviously I'm not going to wrap my tits in or give up. I'm going to see it all the way through. And that was like the first step. And then obviously things progressed from there.
Okay.
But yeah, it didn't take, in my eyes, from the moment I went there, got kind of the briefing, understood what was going on, there was no point I was ever going to give up.
So as Americans say, you're not a quitter.
I'd say I'm not a quitter, yeah. And I'm not saying that it was easy, because there was plenty of times where it was hard. But there's no point where I was like, oh God, I should quit.
That motivation.
Even at war.
Yeah, that motivation. We get to that. that motivation. That motivation that you just thought, I'm going to do this, even when it got, whether it's mundane, whether it's difficult. Because obviously you got cold and wet. You know,
Plenty of times. Yeah.
Just to brief people on, RMR is an acronym for Royal Marines Reserves. It basically means you're part-time in the Marines, so you're allowed to have a civvy job. But if they do want you to go to war, they call you up and off you go, like anything else. So that's what Dan and I have in common here. So
and we went through training together.
Yeah. How did you motivate yourself? That mental strength.
Back then, I didn't really need any motivation. I think the only motivation I needed was to continue to be fit and to learn new stuff. And I was learning new stuff all the time. I'd never done anything with the military before I started. I was never a cadet. Had nothing to do with the military. So to me, it was all brand new. For most guys that we were in training with, a lot of them were in the cadets before. They knew a lot of the basics. For me, it was literally fresh out of the box.
Yeah.
And I think the learning and then staying fit and changing the type of fitness I was doing compared to what I was when I was younger kept me motivated.
Yeah, I see what you mean, because I had done a tour already with the army.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but it was a bootneck tour.
So you met the bootnecks.
Yeah. So, and before I'd done that tour, I realised that I didn't want to be with the army anymore because they weren't. No disrespect to the army people out there, no disrespect, but yeah, you will hear my story more in detail later on another time. But yeah, what's the hardest thing? What's the most interesting thing about training?
Physically, at the beginning, I struggled carrying weight and running because I was a really good runner. And to then put weight on me and boots, really, I had to dig deep into my brain to sort that out. Once I got it, I was strong and decent by the end, but at the beginning, that was a killer. Because I was such a free flowing runner before, like who ran, I raced at quite a high level. To then be like weighed down was, I found that super difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then mentally, I was always pretty strong mentally, hence I was never going to give up. But just dealing with, there was a lot of learning dealing with different types of guys that I'd never been around before, with their all individual needs and personalities and clashing, and I think learning all that side of it was great, but that was also quite a challenge at the beginning.
Because you and those golden bullets were racers, isn't it?
Racing snakes.
Yeah, racing snakes.
Yeah.
That's some memories there, isn't it? So, when did you? Some guys decided they never had it in them to do the whole 9 yards, as in go on tour and all of that. Did you have in your mind that you was going to go on tour?
Yeah, straight away. From when I joined doing the training, I thought, right, I'll get my green lid. I'm obviously going to get it. And then I was like, Afghan was going on already. I was like, well, obviously I'm going to do the job that I've now trained to do. That was the goal, and that was it. But I was never a career soldier or anything like that. I was literally there to do that. Go to Afghan and see how it goes from there. See how I was feeling.
Did you have family from the military?
Yeah, I'd never met them. They all died before I was born. My grandma's dad and brother were both SAS. So there was a bit of pedigree before.
You had ninja blood in you.
Maybe. But that was never part of my life, and there's no. During my whole growing up, I don't even think I'd met anyone in the military.
Okay.
Like my whole youth.
I don't think I only met somebody in the military on Opens Day one time.
I never even went to.
And they wore the olive. He was wearing the olive uniform at the time.
Yeah. I just wasn't surrounded by anything to do with the military. Even at school, no teachers were ex-military. There was just nothing. I didn't have any friends whose parents were in the military. So to me, I was always interested. I was always down the woods, playing, doing all sorts of stuff, but it was never really.
When did you start to feel like you were a Marine in training? And you thought, like, this is what it's all about.
Phase 2. When you start doing tactical stuff. When you're actually doing soldiering. When I was like, oh, I'm actually doing something that's seemed like progressive, that you then move on to actually doing real soldiering. I think that was, so the second half of training. Then I was like, actually we're doing tactical stuff. And that's when I switched on a lot more. The admin and stuff that comes with phase 1 was important, but I wasn't really into it. When we got to the tactical stuff, I got stronger, I was fitter, I could do everything, I could see a reason we were doing it.
Do you think they could have made it better in any way? Or was it good as it is?
What the RR?
The training course.
I think there's a million ways they could have made it better.
Okay, tell us.
I think I honestly went to war with minimal training, I feel like, on weapon systems, live firing. I did a bit with with full time before we went, but that was minimal because I was put in MT when I got there. I just got put in the fighting unit just before we went to Afghan. So my actual exposure, I ticked all the boxes to be there. That was like the bare minimum, I'd say.
I would agree with that.
It was definitely the bare minimum amount of training that we got to then be in theatre.
I suppose I'm thinking the regular guys. I wonder if they would have looked at it like that, because a lot of them are just.
Yeah, they might have thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it from our perspective.
No, I mean,
there's-
not for us.
No,
the regular guys. A lot of the regular guys that came from straight out of training and was just feeling.
Oh yeah, straight in, yeah.
Feeling things, yeah, all of that. So that was interesting. So.
But I feel like I saw myself off a bit when we went to a regular unit, because I was quite good at mechanics. I was quite a handy person. I worked really hard. There was no so when I turned up at something, the boss was like, "Oh, keep this guy," because he's I'd never slacked. I was always happy to be working. I wanted to be doing stuff all the time.
Then how come the boss lose you then to the front line?
Because they needed more lads in the fighting troops. I always knew I was going to end up in the fighting troop. It made sense, but
they liked your attitude.
I think so.
Yeah, so yeah, that makes sense. And if you're working for the boss is the officer, by the way. Yeah, so if you're working for the officer, you're gonna get brownie points straight away. If he likes you. If he didn't like you, then you get told off in public like me. Sometimes I didn't even know what I did. What did I do? What did I do this time? But such is life. Such is life.
I think back then I was a prick. I did. If I was asked to do stuff, I did it. When not in theatre, that was different. When it was like life or death, that's a completely separate thing. But when it was work, I was quite happy just to work and get on with it.
How did
not play the game, as the lads would say.
Yeah, how did you find gelling with the other guys?
I mean, to be honest, I think I got on with pretty much everyone really well. Especially at a unit, I feel like, pretty much I made friends with pretty much most people I'm cross paths with, across the hierarchy as well, I'd say.
That's good.
And I would actually say that even went beyond with theatre and then stuff afterwards. I'd say I got on, in general, pretty much with everyone. There's a couple of people I just didn't get on with, but that was quite rare for me. I don't know, what are your thoughts like?
I had people who I didn't like. But I think I had people who were annoying.
Yeah.
Now, just to
That's what I asked you earlier.
Just to let everybody know, there's an age difference between Dan and I, and believe it or not,
you won't believe it.
I'm 10 years younger than him.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No, I'm like 11 years older than Dan. So Dan did the passing out of the commando course at 19, which is a great age to do it. I did it when I was like 32, and there's a big difference. And my body had already been handled, so I'd been on tour. So you're thrown in with a lot of, what's the average age is like 19, 20?
21,
Yeah,
21.
21.
22.
So you imagine it's like you're a grown man. Wasn't I even? No, I was 32. When you went on tour, what age were you? You was in.
I think I was 22.
Yeah. So I was older.
I think.
Yeah.
No, I must have been 23.
Yeah. So what my point is, why I asked this, is that some of the people were my son's age. So it's like you're going to war with your son. But you're going to be in the bedroom, share a bedroom with him for the next 3 months before you go. And it was quite frustrating at times.
Yeah, I can
Fart jokes, setting off the alarms at
But
10
it's like
o'clock,
I asked
1
you.
o'clock in the
It's
morning.
like I asked
Yeah.
you earlier. How was it? Did it feel like you were just surrounded by kids? Like
Yeah,
your
it
dad.
It did. When I think about it, it was even down. Excuse me. Even down to belongings. You know.
Yeah.
Respecting other people's belongings or space.
I remember you driving us in your car, and I feel like I always tried to respect you and understand you as best as I could. at my young age, I remember someone slamming your car door and you being like, can you please not slam my car door? And then being like, what have I done? What have I done? And I was like, just don't slam his door.
Is that when we go to cinema or something?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Which
So-
is fair.
Yeah.
And like, if someone did that and really slammed my car door, I'd be like, don't slam the door. It makes complete sense. It's just back then, these guys weren't really thinking about it, were
Yeah,
they?
because no, they don't own anything.
Yeah, I know.
That was the
Neither did
thing.
I.
They didn't own anything, and they're given all these big equipment to use, like all those new Gucci vehicles. Like the military got all these. What's it? Jackal.
Yeah, Jack.
Jackals. Nice. It's like a beach buggy, but 10 times as big. And it can go over all this terrain. It's got the roll bars. You've got guns sticking out all over the place, and they just trash it.
Yeah.
They really put it through its paces, bootnet proof, squatty proof, all that.
Wow. Yeah.
All that kind of thing. So yeah, it was an interesting experience. And then the corporals. The problem was for me. I'm older than the corporals, but the corporals are talking to me like I'm really like a teenager, and you're like, oh. But that happened on the first tour that I was on. The army tour.
You're gonna get
And
that's inherent of the military. Though.
And then there's a row between one of the TA and the regulars, because it was all a driving unit. And later on, one of the regulars went to the corporals. Listen, when you're talking to the Armagh guys, remember they're not children. They're grown men with families.
Who've got real jobs.
Yeah. Try and show you.
And they might be earning 4 times as much.
Yeah.
As you.
That was a mistake of mine, because someone said something and I mentioned about pay, and then
mate,
even the corporals got angry with me.
Yeah,
There's one who really didn't like me. I can't remember Scott. Is it Scott? I can't remember his name. Blonde guy. And then he would try and pick me for everything, every and anything. But such is life. So when you had to tell your loved ones that you're going on tour, how did that go through? Oh, before we jump to there, we jump in. They're passing out the commando test. What was that like?
If I'm being honest,
Oh,
you probably know what I'm going to say. By then, it was easy. The training was harder than the commando test at the end.
So train hard, fight easy.
Yeah, by then, even for me, by then the physical tests weren't too bad.
Now the commando test is at the end of the marine training of 32 weeks, and it consisted of 2 weeks and was a squatted, booted run, press up, pull ups, bottom field, which is an assault course. You got the 4 miler. Is it 4 miler?
8 mile speed march.
8 mile speed march and 15 miles.
No, 8 mile speed march.
Yeah.
Endurance course.
Yeah.
Which is 2 miles through water tunnels, then 6 miles back.
Yeah.
Tarzan assault course,
Yep.
which is like the high ropes and low bottom field put in together. Then the 30 miler.
Yeah. So that doesn't sound like anything the way Dan puts it. If you're 19, it's all fun and games. If you're in your
I wasn't actually 19 then, because training took ages.
If you're in your 30s, it's an interesting experience, let's put it that way. You've really got to dig down deep. And put it this way, you know what God you serve when you're trying to do it. Yeah, you're just calling them, Jesus Christ, God, get me through this. Yeah.
You done well though, I was
The
impressed.
tunnels.
I was impressed, mate.
It's a tunnel. You know who I was with? I was with Roberts, and who else was I with? There's another short.
You know where I was, don't you?
Were you with me in that?
No, I went off first with the fast guys.
Yeah, but I was with Roberts and Thing, and we was okay. And then we got to those little tunnels.
Oh yeah.
They just run up. They run through there like drawers.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
I
I was just feeling big pieces of meat being carved out my knee pads.
grab some more water.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a big size difference, so
Yeah, yeah.
like you're a big guy, I'm 5'9" and push.
The salt course was something. You got the monk, not the monkey bars. What's that? Where you go along the ropes.
Regain.
Yeah, you do all the regain now. I went before Kumi.
Yeah, over the water.
No, I went after Kumi. Kumi was slow. He was scared. I don't know what was going on, and then they made me do it again. Oh, you know, on the is it the death slide?
Yeah.
You know, I nearly killed myself.
Yeah, you didn't put it over the rope.
No, you're meant
That
to.
happened to a few
There's
people.
a long rope that goes, I don't know, it goes for ages, and it's a zip line. You're meant to get a little piece. They give you a little piece of rope, dip it in a bottle of water, in a bucket of water, and you throw it over, and you just jump and slide down. You go like in the action movie. You've got all your weapon, your kit on, and everything. Now in my infinite wisdom, so I don't like heights. I went up there, and I forgot to put it over. So I was just holding this rope, and I was ready to jump. And how high would you say this is?
It was like 30 foot.
Yeah. And the corporal just tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, you might want to put it over the rope." And I went, "Oh yeah, thanks."
It wasn't just you though.
And
A
I
few
had to-
guys did that.
I had to do it twice because Kumi
Got
was
stuck.
he just I tried to contact Kumi again, but I never. Oh,
He's a good bloke.
Yeah, he's a good.
He helped me out.
He was older than me as well.
Yeah, he was strong.
Yeah, and that was good.
I gave him a pep talk on the 30 miler and then made him stay at the front.
Yeah, because we was all in the same thing, isn't it? So how did you feel when you passed out?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I remember being like, I felt like I had achieved something. You know?
I knew I had achieved something.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely felt like I had gone through something harder than what I'd ever done before, for sure.
I had run, you know, the last bit you have to run up the stairs to go over the bridge to go down the road, over the road.
Yeah, that's on the
Yeah,
insurance course.
there was one of the King's thing that just passed out.
King Squad.
Yeah, and his whole family and his missus or sister with the baby and everything, and he saw me coming, and he told them, "Get to the side! Get to the side!" And I went running down the stairs. I looked at the stairs. I said, "Don't look at it." And I looked down and I'm running past him. He goes, "Go on, Royal! Go on! Dad, get out of his way!" And I got to the top and I went, "Oh!" Grabbed the banister and started trying to run along. I was losing it, man. It was a hard one. You don't know how hard it was for me. But that encouraged me because his family, because he got his whole family, and then someone, as I come down, this is what I like about the Corps. Some guy, I don't know who he was, he said, "You're running with me." He wasn't like, he wasn't a DS, he was just a bootneck, and he used to stay with me. And I was just running. I didn't even know where I was going. I was just running. He was just running. Yeah. And he goes, "Now, you see with the marksman thing, you go and clean your way. Go there." Thanks. I never knew, up to now, I didn't know who he was. But I said, that is something you don't get in the army. I would say that somebody, one of the Corps, just looking at you and seeing you're one of them, knows what test you're doing, it's your final test, and just saying, "Where I'm going, I'm not going, I'm helping this guy out."
I had guys who've been in the Corps a long time at the Portsmouth detachment who helped me, who I still talk to today, who are fantastic guys, who would do anything for you. And when I remember in training getting help to no end. They would talk to me anytime. There was no, they would do anything. When I was at war, they were sending me stuff all the time, helping me out. The bootneck ethos and how guys treat each other is pretty decent.
Yeah, it's not everybody, but yeah, it is.
No, not everyone, but,
but the ones who
there are some real great guys in there, for sure.
You know,
And some of the most interesting people I know were in the Corps.
how did you feel? I say feel. What was your thoughts when it came to knowing that you're going to go to Afghan?
I was so like blinkered back then. I had like tunnel vision of what I wanted to do. So if I wanted to do something, that was what I was doing.
Yeah, like
So I was like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Signing up, going. It wasn't really like, oh shit. To me, it was just like the next step of what I needed to do. So I didn't overthink too much about it. Which, if that was now, I would be thinking way more about what I was actually getting into.
Is that because?
But then that could be
your
because
age
of the age
and life
potentially.
experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's why they recruit the young.
Makes complete sense. Because they got guys like me who are willing just to go.
Yeah. But you know what's interesting, and I always talk about this, why I'm a fan of national service. The knife crime age is exactly the same as the infantryman age.
Yeah, of course it is.
Remember, in the military, infantry, they take you at 15 3/4 from once you get the NI number.
Yeah.
And frontline units, it's like 21, age 21, which is not much.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not old.
You meant, no, sorry, I get what you mean.
Excuse me, think of the infantry platoon. Think of back then, most people were 25? No, that's the lance corporal.
Yeah.
Most people are younger, innit? They're not 18, they're not 19, they're this early 20s average, if you see what I mean. Which tallies up with the knife crime age.
Yeah, of course.
And teenage pregnancy and juvenile delinquency age.
Yeah, just young.
Yeah, just no direction, no focus, no guidance. So yeah, in that respect.
But yeah, what was I going to say?
How did your family take it that you were going away?
I think it was hard for them, to be honest. But they've always let me do whatever I want to do. So if I wanted to do it, that was it. They'll support me. They always have, and I just got on with it. But I think it was quite tough for them. Probably more tough for them when I got back. More so than when I was there. But I think also at the time, especially the tour we went on, was quite kinetic. And there was a lot in the news, and I don't think that helped.
Yeah. The funny thing was, for me, when I got back and we got off that coach, I remember my partner, she came up to me and she goes, I actually need a hug right now. And I was thinking, it's all over, where's the fun and games? Oh, when I go back.
My holiday's over.
No, I got to give her a hug. I don't want to give her a hug. I want to go back there and start in gunfire in the morning and the evening and all that. That was my mindset. It's like, come on then. Yeah, it wasn't, it hadn't switched over.
Yeah.
I hadn't switched over to, remember you are in some form of relationship.
I get what you're saying.
But that's what that called. Do you remember was it the RSM or something when he spoke to us and he said how when you go back, was in Cyprus, he said when you go back, don't kick the dog, shout at the kids.
Yeah, just chill.
Yeah, spoon, be gentle with them, your wife, your girlfriend. Yeah, because he's recognising all, he said these are all the problems that we've had and what they've worked out. And I'll never forget this, the same time you spend on tour and training to go on tour is the same minimum amount of time it takes to get back to normal.
Yeah.
Which is an understatement.
Yeah, I think that might be an understatement.
Depending on who it is.
Yeah.
And what you've gone
And
through.
also I don't think it's just dependent on who it is, I also think it's what they've actually gone through. As in how many experiences were they actually involved in. because I think if you've had prolonged exposure, say to traumatic events or fights or a lot, your chances, regardless of who you are, your chances of not being able to cope or adapt when you get back are heightened by a lot. But then I might be biased.
No, well, everybody's going to have their own point of view based on their own personal experience. So
Yeah.
what you're saying is totally right when you look at it like that. In that respect.
But family-wise, yeah, I think it might. I mean, I can't say because I'm not there, but it must have been pretty difficult because we're all pretty close as well.
What was when you first landed in Afghan? What was that like?
So I remember flying in. Do you mean to?
Well, both. You got Bastion.
Yeah.
And
So
you got
into
Kandahar.
Bastion, it was just like big base. I didn't, it was a bit like, what the fuck's going on here? It's a bit mad. And then flying into theatre, actually in. I remember flying over in the Chinook, and then I could see the mud huts, the farm, the farming. I remember turning to my mate when we got off and just going, "What the fuck are we doing here?" Like, really?
How long are we gonna be here for?
Yeah.
Hey, I think there's a we're in the wrong postcode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy I'm talking about is an intelligent guy. He went to Oxford. And I think he was just like, what? Like, what are we doing? That was our initial thought. But, yeah.
Did you get that one bottle of water a day, either you could drink it or wash in it? Did your Russians get that back? You can even drink it or wash in it. It's up to you. For those people who don't understand how important water is, I've lived in countries where they cut off the power and society goes on like normal. But when water starts to get rationed, you see people losing their plot.
Yeah, it's a bit different. Yeah, it's true though. Some of the places I ended up in, there ain't no washing.
Yeah. So how many men was in your fob?
So I moved around loads of different places.
How is it? So you was in MT and then they just dropped you here, dropped me there?
No, I was at, what you mean at 40?
Yeah.
No, so at 40 Commando, I was in MT with you for a bit. Then I got moved to Charlie Company into 7 Troop. And then I deployed with them. And that was a troop of, what was it, 24?
I thought we had 29 at one time.
Okay,
And then, but people were dying.
40, 56,
When I was sent on R&R early, for
yeah.
whatever reason. And every day I turned on the news, somebody was dead.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said, I'm not turning on the news anymore.
Yeah.
And I come back, I think it's like 7 people are dead. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. I remember
Most
Scotland.
of them from me.
No, it wasn't in your.
No,
It's in your. It's in my thing.
Yeah, in Alpha. Is it Alpha?
Yeah, was it Alpha?
Yeah,
I can't remember for the life of me. Yeah, and that. So that was. Yeah, someone lost the plot as well, because when some other guy got blown up, he was right next to it. So all the that went over, and he just. Then they put him on Sentry that night,
Yeah,
and he
clever.
he didn't go down too well. They had to call in the Chinook to come pick him up.
Yeah.
But that Chinook ride, Chinook being the helicopters with 2 propellers that you see commonly on the news or military movies, was the cargo bay open, the floor open with your feet hanging?
Yeah. when we were coming.
That's some experience, isn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, I went in a Huey, an Osprey, fucking quite a
And
few
they're
different
flying contour in the
yeah, some nicer than others. I like the Chinooks.
Yeah.
The Osprey was
You
one of the
don't like
worst
the-
experiences of my life.
Because it falls out of the sky a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, and also the Americans were just flying in, like, not even tactically or whatever, just straight over the green zone, like, you're just like, ah, here comes an RPG. And we had a helicopter go down, we had a Black Hawk go down in
In your compound.
in the fob, yeah.
In the fuck. Is it?
So
wait, that must have been burn up everything then.
no, man, somehow the pilot pulled it away and went into the wadi, into the river.
Oh, so it didn't.
Because Pedro 66.
It didn't blow up.
Yeah, it blew up. Yeah.
So he died.
Everyone inside it. I think there was one survivor or two.
Was it relief coming for you lot?
Yeah, someone had been shot. Yeah, it was coming in to evacuate them, but it was my point was with the Osprey is that we had already had a helicopter shot down, and this thing's just coming over like massive, nice and slow, like just a sitting duck.
Do you think there's an element of arrogance with our American cousins? It's not all of them, obviously.
I think they're
So I
fantastic.
do have family in the American military, by the way. Correct.
I think we're very different. I think the British and the Americans are completely different type of people.
How so?
Individually, I got on with guys in the American Marines, like they're really nice guys, do anything for you, but as a collective and from their hierarchy with their like objectives and what they were expected to do, they were just like sitting ducks, and they would happily go out and do stuff that I would have said no, like and gone fuck off boss, or no chance I'm doing that. Whereas they wouldn't say anything, they would go out and literally do what they're told.
So they're on the old imperialistic military British military system still then? Because that's how the British military
Used to be.
used to be.
I would say I definitely saw elements of that. And you know, they would get like G'd up speeches from the hierarchy.
Yeah, I remember that corporal with all, there's a sergeant with all the scars over
Yeah.
his face.
There is.
You got to be prepared to die!
Yeah, you
are you ready to die?
There's nothing more patriotic than dying for your country, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like getting spoken to like that, and then thinking they're invincible, going out and literally losing, 5 blokes in one.
Yeah, it's the extended,
Over and over again.
It's the extended line stuff they do across the
Insane.
compounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the point.
I was the point man in that area when they came, and I told them, I sat down in their briefings, told them where all the bombs were, like where I roughly knew where they were, where I would avoid, and they just went straight through the lot, losing blokes day after day.
Do you think if you was an American telling them, they would have paid attention?
No, I think the hierarchy wanted to do what they were going to do, and no one's going to tell them any different.
So
They had their plan, and their plan was what they were doing.
And then they started smashing down locals' houses. Do you remember they decided to
Yeah.
build a road and knocking down people's houses?
Yeah. I just don't think. I mean, the whole thing was ridiculous anyway. Personally,
I understand what you're saying.
I mean,
So it's ironic. They did all that, send all those 47 nations involved to catch like 30 people. Who weren't
they
even
just
from that country.
entered into something that I don't even think they meant to get that involved.
I think they did. You know why? Big business.
Yeah, it is big business. Yeah, of course.
They
it
make
is.
money on
Yeah,
selling them weapons.
Yeah,
They make money.
yeah. And yes, I could see. I don't know. The way I look back at it, we weren't doing any good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you.
We were just, we were young guys out there having a scrap.
Yeah, that's true.
That's literally what we were doing.
Did you see anybody where you just thought, you need to go home, you need a break?
Yeah. Quite a few guys.
I had a guy,
especially in my troop.
I won't mention his name. You don't really know him. And we were sitting down by this river, the Sangin River. You know, they wash the motorbikes.
Yeah.
They wash the cars. The women are washing their clothes. The kids are playing. All that. Everything's going on in this river like it's built for everything. And he just went, look at him. Look at him. I said, well, what's wrong with him? Just look at him. We should just kill them all now. Right? I was like, mate, there's women and children. He said, yeah, they all should just die. I said, you need, oh no.
Yeah,
and I don't mean like
he needs to not
tomorrow, I mean like yesterday. But he was very peaceful and loving.
Yeah.
Before he went.
Yeah.
That things got too much for him mentally,
Yeah.
I reckon. And he just turned into this. I understand why in Vietnam you had those situations where young guys just lost the plot and killed everybody in the village.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it, but I can understand how they got to that point.
I didn't see it like that at all.
Go on.
I interacted as much as I could with the locals, and I think they saved my life countless times.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. If you treat,
and I thought they were decent people, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
We had a guy that would put up he would put up a marker so we knew when we were going to get attacked. The people were helping us out left, right, and centre. The kids wouldn't say it, but they would signal to me that there was something wrong, then scar her. And the amount of times that happened, I think I could pick up on the atmospherics pretty well.
So you did your own personal hearts and minds to preserve you and your team, really?
Yeah.
Which is the way to go.
100%.
Really, yeah. You go anywhere.
As best we could,
yeah.
but it wasn't quite that simple, but definitely that was what made a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And we were out on the ground a lot, so I think people that were overly aggressive and not accommodating to people that literally live there, bearing in mind we're on their turf, had the wrong attitude about how they were going to get themselves out of there alive. Yeah.
So because really and truly, regardless of what the higher commands say, your main and sole objective is just to get out the same way you came in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it ended up for me.
Nothing else, really.
It ended up for me being like a battle of just surviving.
You spoke about earlier where certain things, if the boss would come up with some idea, harebrained idea, you'd have to tell him, boss, do you want to reconsider that?
Yeah, because I think that was a good thing about the Marines, in my eyes, was that as a point man, which I wasn't at the beginning of the tour, but then I became one of the point men, and I had a good relationship with the boss and the stripey. And if they said we're doing this, and I was like, that's not a good idea, I could have an honest conversation with them, and then we would work it out from there. It was no issue. There was no like, you can't tell me what to do. There never ever was. There was no issue with that, and that was a good thing I found in the Marines, is they would listen to your opinion.
Yeah, and that's what you want, because I understand that's what it's like with SF. Everybody kind of
everyone needs to think for themselves.
Yeah, in that respect, I think. Yeah.
And like I told you earlier, to this day, they're my guys that were in charge of me, or even higher, a lot higher than that, I still speak to today. They're good, good blokes. Thinking soldiers, I call them.
You went through a lot, more than most of us, probably more than me, in the sense of when I did 2 tours. I had a debate with an officer the other day, and he was talking about women in the military, women on the front line. When I say military, I don't, because the military is a big beast. Just to let everybody know, it's a big beast. It's like you could say it's like a town move. You need everything in a town to run a town.
There's a lot of working parts.
Yeah, a lot of working parts. You need post office, drivers, medics, military police, for argument's sake, lots of different people, mechanics, all the rest of it. So anybody who's got the mentality and the goal, yeah. But when it comes to the front line, up and personal, living down and dirty for months on end, in a shell scrape, I've done that. For instance, yeah. Do you think it's ideal to have the opposite sex? Considering we don't keep all the men in...
I think it depends on too many factors to actually... I think I've had particular experiences that make me... I'm not going to form a full opinion on everyone in the military on whether women should be there based on what's happened to me, because I know there are some fantastic women who are in similar situations to me who perform fantastically. However, when I was there, any one medic, an MP that we had attached, it was a terrible idea. It didn't work at all. For a number of reasons, but I wouldn't say, I couldn't tell you if that was normal across the board. But my experience was bad. And they shouldn't have been there.
We had 3 medics, 2 guys, 1 was women. 1 I tried to sell to the Afghans. When I say the Afghan, they tried to sell it to the Afghan army. Afghan army, for those people who like equal opportunities, as in gay, you get a lot of the locals who like to play for the home team, you could put it that way. And there was one of our medics was a young guy, little short guy, blonde hair, blue eyes, but he's very young looking. And the Afghan army were looking at him and
teeing him up.
Yeah. So I realised they were looking at him.
I mean, we shouldn't even laugh about it because I'm pretty sure they just abused, the sexual abuse that went on inside the Afghan National Army is pretty appalling.
Yeah, it's true.
And at some point, that'll probably come out and be a thing that should definitely be spoken about.
But long story short,
we were happy with that.
Yeah, I just as a joke, I said to them, no, you give me $100. They said, no, we take him for $5. I said, no, you give me 50. They said 10. I said, right, you give me 20. They went, no. I said, yeah, you come touch. He good. He ready. And I held him like this, picked him up. He's really little, and he goes, no, they will rape me.
But that's my point. They actually would have.
Yeah, I know. But the funny thing is, I didn't see him on the patrol again. Yeah. He refused to go out.
Yeah, I'm not.
He refused. But back to the thing is, the girl of the medic, she had more drive, more thing.
Yeah.
But she froze.
Yeah,
who
that
got
was,
compacted.
that was the issue we had.
Yeah, she froze.
Was that we may as well not have
And
had a medic.
the other two medics, well, one ran off, would refuse to go out, and the other one decided he's not going out as well. So it's like,
Yeah,
well,
that was-
we should have had
That
commando.
was the issue we had. Was that we had some bad injuries, really heavy contacts, and we had no medic because she couldn't do anything. So we ended up with no medic for the rest of the tour.
Really?
Yeah.
But surely they could have.
Apart from our commando medic, who was in the main base, who went out to as much as he could, but there's only
That's
one.
aftermath.
There's one guy, you know.
Yeah.
And he was fat, like he was amazing, but how are you supposed to spread in between?
And I suppose
Everyone.
all those people who come into the surgeons, they don't want to put a surgeon on as a medic, is it?
Oh no,
Yeah,
yeah, they
you
couldn't do that.
Yeah, because it's too valuable. Everything's priced up in the military.
But the guys, you know, I did a lot of med stuff. The guys were fantastic. We did the best we could when we're out on the ground, and you know what it's like when you're under heavy contact. It's all about just getting them out there as quick as possible. Anyway. So sometimes the stuff we could do was good enough to get them to where we needed to, so then they could be looked after. And I've never doing casualty evacuations with the Marines, like the sense of urgency and what those guys did and what I did in extreme circumstances. Like still to this day, I take my hat off to the blokes because they go above and beyond to save people. 100%.
I hear that. That whole thing from contact to injury to all the way back to Germany. I remember one guy said he was driving through Helmand in Wimmick, it was Wimmick this time, and they hit an IED or mine. He got flown free from the vehicle.
Yeah.
About 150 metres, he landed. And when he woke up, he was in Germany.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very good team from your team, because some of his people died, to the helo, to everything.
Oh yeah. And that's one thing I'd say about the Americans as well. They would come in Black Hawks under any contact, any as bad as it could be. They would come in, get a guy, and that's why they lost the helicopter, because they would literally come in on any conditions to try and save people. So although we were very different, they went especially the medic guys, they were coming in under crazy conditions to try and save people. It was impressive.
Yeah, I can't believe it. But that's what you need, though, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you need some backup. Yeah.
I think they also have that mindset where they have the freedom because they have more equipment.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so there were quite a few occasions where we couldn't get British helicopters to where we were because they couldn't. They wouldn't want to lose the asset, which makes complete sense.
Not really. They should have invested more.
Yeah. I mean, British just shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
That would have been a good start.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they could have. They had two helos in back in England, flying officers.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
They could have been helping the guys. Yeah.
It's not as simple as my as what I was one man on the ground normally at the front, either getting shot at or dealing with stuff. I can't see the whole bigger picture, even though I got a good idea.
I just think it's just links of corruption, to be honest.
Yeah. There's some money definitely being leaked around, that's for sure. Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah. What was your first contact like?
I was carrying ECM Blue, which
You carried that?
at the beginning.
But you're a point man.
No, I was point man later on.
I just carried ECM Blue and ECM Brown, and what's the other one? ECM Blue, Brown. Was it black? I can't remember. I was a donkey.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
Yeah.
Me,
I
and then
wasn't
the
the
Gobbo.
bit-
Do you remember
but
Gobbo?
yeah,
Gobbo
yeah,
got
yeah.
blown up, yes.
Yeah. I was a donkey at the beginning.
And I'm a big donkey, so with all that kit, I sink into the ground up to my knees.
Yeah, that must be.
So I'm just wading
Yeah.
through that.
Yeah.
And I remember one time we just started, slow down, we're not fucking donkeys.
Yeah, it's so
We just
big.
lost the plot. And
So
then
big.
the last corporal didn't want to, where's he from? He's from Georgia or something. He didn't want to, he just like, you just keep up. And then once he was given ECM,
Maybe not.
Suddenly he changed his tune. Yeah. And she had ladders. And that's the thing, the medic, the girl,
Yeah, it wasn't comfortable.
she couldn't carry her own equipment and help us. So I was carrying.
Yeah, all sorts. Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, so my first contact, we were in, you could tell straight away when we walked into this area, we were like further than what the rifles had gone previously. We were already further than them within the first week. We had patrolled further than they had in that whole tour.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd already gone way beyond the white flags, the Taliban area. And although we were always told, there isn't a flat, forward line of enemy troops, it's a 360 battle. And we were like, okay, but if we step over here, we get shot at straight away. Anyway, we went into one of these areas and fucking hell, rounds start coming in. I'm like laying on the ground, like digging in with my eyelids. And then I remember, then we were basically breaking contact back. We were like, we're just going to pull out. We couldn't really see what was going on. There was no like firing points. And then I had to run for, it was endless with all that weight on. But I felt strong.
Yeah.
And I remember getting back, and my corporal at the time was like, "You're really strong, like in that engagement, and you came back and you were still like all right." And I was like, "Yeah, no, feel okay," type of thing. Because at the beginning when we got there, it was so hot, I was struggling straight away. But then I think I adjusted. So by the time we come under contact, when I was there, the lads had already been in another contact a few days before that I wasn't there. And then I started to feel a bit more. After a bit of acknowledgement, then I started to feel a little bit better. But the beginning was a struggle. And then when we were out on a few more patrols and I was still carrying all that kit, I then found a few bombs and highlighted them that we'd already walked past. And that's when they realised, maybe we should give them a go at the front. Because I was still spotting stuff, even carrying all that gear. And you know what your brain's like when you're carrying all that gear.
But that's the acronym for commando, isn't it? Control of muscular mind and nerves during operation. Yeah. Basically, when you're stressed and you're really
I could still
exhausted,
operate.
can you still operate mentally?
And I think once they realised that, then I was able to be sniper bait in a river for my next one.
Up in your echelons, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I went on little skirmishes and trying to hunt out snipers and stuff like that as the bait.
You know what's funny about when you say you was trying to get your eyelids down into the dig in, is that there's that classic statement in Full Metal Jacket when he goes, "You want to get so close to the earth, you ask God to remove your shirt button so you can get closer to the ground."
That is true.
Hey.
Yeah, when you get those cracks, the rounds are cracking. Yeah. Or whizzing.
Yeah. No,
Then all of a sudden it's real.
Yeah, what point did it really become real to you? Because I don't think it became real to me for a long time. Even when I was picking up body parts, it still was like, there's a bit of a leg, better go and pick them up.
What point did it No, I think I was pretty aware it was real. I think I was pretty aware of what was going on quite early.
I wouldn't say I wasn't aware, but it just didn't seem like, I don't know, it didn't seem like anything really out there for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Definitely did for me.
I don't know why. I always wondered, what is that?
In what terms do you mean?
It
Really
wasn't
out
like
there?
when the interpreter got blown up and he walked on the ID or whatever they laid, and his leg went either way. And people were trying to tell everybody to get up so we can move, and he wasn't getting up. But it was like, we got to go and find his legs.
Yeah.
And so, all right. It wasn't like, it wasn't like anything unconscious. I'm just going to find his legs.
Yeah, just
then we can go.
Yeah.
Then we can go home.
Yeah, but you're probably quite desensitized.
Yes, that's the word, desensitized. It wasn't bothered. Bothered.
I was. By the end, I was very desensitized, but I wasn't earlier on.
America did a survey in Iraq, and they said depending on the person's background, what they found is that the children who come from perfect families in like suburbs have a lot of issues being at war more than the people who come from, let's say, council estates or trailer trash gangland areas. And I've had a mixture of both.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know.
It didn't bother me.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean.
I don't feel like anything bothered me. But it obviously did.
Yeah.
Because I suffered for a long time afterwards.
Yeah, you get that angry thing.
Well, anger or I had flashbacks for years of certain situations. So clearly stuff did affect me, but the way I dealt with it is what saved me. So although I suffered with it after, the way I was behaving and how I operated there was what kept me alive. So it was detrimental to myself later on, but it meant that I survived. So kind of, and then obviously now I see it as the things I suffered with are now like my power. So although I suffered it, once I've worked it out, and actually that's actually been a positive thing later on down the line, has enabled me to do like the things I now do. So although at the time I didn't feel like I was feeling anything, clearly it had an effect.
So was there any point where you thought, before we move on, that this might be it for you?
Oh, what, gonna die?
Yeah.
Never.
Okay, so you always saw a light at the end of the tunnel. And we spoke about earlier.
Weirdly positive.
Yeah. No, you know what I think? I think it's we spoke about earlier before we turned the camera on and everything, is that the ability to slow things down.
Yeah.
And if you notice, not putting ourselves on the part of the best martial artists and things like that, but if you look at boxers, for example, it's all about the hands.
Yeah.
Those are the only things you have to worry about. But a really good boxer has the ability to, even though his opponent is jabbing really fast, he can slow down that whole thing, and he can see, is he bringing his elbow out, is he twisting, is he overreaching, is he dropping his guard, all these things, and how does he come back, does he come back fully, all of those. And I believe that we both saw it in the same light, where, okay, this man's doing this is going on here, that's going on there, rounds may be coming in, but I'm just able to slow it down, work out what's going on, decide what I'm going to do, and act.
yeah, in
Instead of flapping.
in the worst situations that I dealt with, was when stuff I could slow everything. So like I was telling you, when I stepped over a bomb, and I was like, something in my brain's going, whoa, and I'm like, right, slow down. Oh, okay, there's a pressure plate. Take my foot back. Get in the river. I'm still getting shot at as well, but I was able to real slow down. Oh, there's a tripwire, and move on. Do everything in a methodical way, even under extreme pressure, and that was what saved me. But also probably created good amounts of trauma. But my ability to slow it down and still think was what stopped me from getting blown up.
Do you think?
And don't ever discount a good bit of luck, because there's definitely some luck involved.
Well, my people would say God's on your side.
100%.
Yeah. So, do you think because what you're saying is really fascinating, but what I'm also thinking in my mind is like the same way maybe it's how we look at things to how we decide whether it's going to be stress later on. And what I'm saying is, it's like, if we think, oh, this is exciting, this is fun and games, then maybe later on it may not seem so much as a thing. It was just like, oh, that was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I did have times where I was like, it was fun when people didn't get hurt on our side. And for example, cutting down the trees.
Yeah.
I was on big bun line, big row of trees, big field, 400 or 500 meters. That's where the Taliban is, firing at me whilst I'm cutting down trees. Now that was a fun day, and I cut down loads of trees whilst getting shot at. To me,
you getting cover and fire?
Huh?
Were you getting cover?
Yeah. They're laying down fire as well, and most of the time I couldn't hear, so I turn around and everyone's like, and I'm like, oh. And then you're just getting like.
But you sent out there on your own.
No. I had guys with me on the bun line firing back, but I was just in the ditch cutting the trees down.
Also looking out for tripwires.
Yeah, also all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I did that for a while. It was good.
What, for a couple of hours or days?
No, like days. Yeah.
Every day you was going out there?
Yeah, some days I would literally go on patrol with just a chainsaw and a pistol. I'm not even kidding.
How many magazines you had for that pistol?
Yeah, not many. We weren't that far out.
UGS?
No, didn't even have a rifle then.
One day, I met Dan. What fob was that? Jackson. And you ever see those Mexican movies where they've got bandoliers and they've got the rounds? Now there's something called UGL, which is underslung grenade launcher, and they're like grenades. They're shaped a bit like.
They're 40 mil.
Yeah,
40 mil.
Yeah, 40. Yeah,
you put them in the bottom of your rifle, you can fire them.
But there's loads of them. He's got belts all around this. So I've gone to him. Give me one of those belts or some of those things. And he's gone, no, I need these. I use them all when I go out there. And I was so surprised. But I looked at his face. I thought, you know what, let me not ask again. Because this man really
You knew me well as well.
Really needs he really needs them. So that's why I asked him, did he have any UGLs in that respect?
Yeah, because I was out on patrol a lot, and being the point man, you always get targeted. Not always get targeted, but rounds would come in real quick, and the first thing I'd do was get a UGL off as close as I could to the firing point to put some fear into them.
Was it easy to identify the firing point at first?
Nah.
It's just in that direction that you. Yes, that's what I found.
Really difficult to identify firing points
Mm.
until it got closer, and then stuff was really kinetic, and then obviously then it was, you know, you're very close. And
What's the closest that you've got? If you've got like 10 meters with these guys?
yeah, closer than that.
That's real close. That's
Yeah, I
like
mean,
Second World War close.
we lost a guy just from guy literally. We had people spraying around the corner. We had people trying to come into our base. We had stuff like super close. But as you know, in the green zone, in some
So
areas,
you was borderline in the forest, though, weren't you?
yeah,
See,
so
I didn't
people could get
understand-
up on you real close.
I didn't understand that though.
Yeah, it's mad.
That's what, see, the whole flame fire and just burn that whole section down.
No, but sometimes I would be in a particular base, a real small one. I would sit on the grenade machine gun, and we would be getting firing points all over, like attacking us, and you'd just be like hosing.
Just like one of those
The
commando
grenade, no,
movies,
just like
Rambo.
pop, just trying to get the firing points.
Yeah.
But we were getting heavily attacked.
I remember, was that in Jackson? I'm not. There was they were getting smashed one time. I think it's Jackson. I can't remember.
It was Piley.
The main one. There's like a main
Jackson, yeah, and
Yeah.
then Piley was down the track from there, so
Yeah.
we got all the incoming.
So,
It took all the abuse
so
coming towards.
they were
Jackson.
getting hammered, and they had
Yeah.
a Fujian GPMG gunner.
Yeah,
And there's a woman in there, I'm not sure if she's some officer or something, but she was like always with this other officer, like babysitting kind of thing. And all I remember hearing was like, watch and shoot. And then rounds coming in, and it goes, all right, rapid, fire. Then, yeah, super rapid. But don't worry about changing the barrel, just load and shoot. Because they're the Mortarmen, not their Mortarmen,
No, but like the wall.
Taliban Mortarmen.
yeah, dropping them in.
Yeah, and it's getting closer to the point.
Yeah.
And they're like, super rapid. The Fujians are fixing it on the move.
It was just like that every day down there. And that's where we lost most guys as well, patrolling around that area.
I'm surprised they didn't want to strengthen your lot's area.
We didn't inside the patrol base. We didn't. I mean, one guy got shot in the head, but ricocheted on the helmet. We had some UGLs come inside, and guys got a bit of fracture in the leg. But actually, from that base when we were defending, I'm pretty sure we didn't lose one guy. It was only when we went out on the ground. But the actual defence of the patrol base, the patrol base ended up getting denied. We denied it. We blew it up and had to leave. Like, it got that bad. But we didn't actually lose a guy from there. That I remember. I hope I'm not wrong. Not from my troop, anyway.
Do you think HQ or command could have dealt with the whole thing better?
The particular patrol where we lost American and another RMR guy, John, I had already patrolled through that area a few times. I don't think we should have been going through there. Yeah, because you set patterns and all they do is, they just, you're being watched the whole time. So if you do the same thing over and over again, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I see what you mean. From my understanding, some of ours, when it wasn't that they did the same routes, they didn't recce it the day before, the night before, or whatever.
Or keep eyes on.
Yeah.
So if you don't have eyes on an area and then you go and walk in it, you need to understand that the likelihood is that it's going to be not right. If you haven't got eyes on an area, how are you going to protect it? and then to walk the same route a few times. You know, and even me, when we evacuated everyone that was injured, there's 5 injured, like all of them badly, just to get into there, you know, we had to avoid multiple bombs, multiple IEDs just to get to them, to then bring them out. You're literally snaking your way round more IEDs. So it's just a shit show.
So coming home, how was that when you was told it's time for us to go home? How was that for you?
From what I remember, I'm pretty sure we left just after the elections, was it?
Yeah, we all got pay rise, isn't it?
No, the elections in Sangin, the local elections.
Okay.
So we occupied a compound, some locals' compound, and we were basically overwatched. We had a mosque, a load of area, and we were basically stopping people coming in to the the local village where people were coming out to vote for the new. I don't even think they had anyone turn out to vote. And I was in there, and we were like on our own, completely isolated. And it was quite nice. We got attacked a bit, but it wasn't too bad. And then we literally come back, and they were like, "Yeah, you're off. The bird's coming. You're off now." And I was like, "Thank fuck for that," because by then I was just in pure survival mode.
And you can only operate on that survival mode. Is like operating on the last fumes.
Yeah, I do. By the end, the last month, I was literally like, just survive, just do everything you can as well as you can. I was always happy to put my hand up. I'll volunteer for anything. I would literally do anything because I knew I could do it, but I wasn't. You know, I needed to make sure everything I did was spot on, done properly. I checked everything. I was just really alert by then. Because I just kept getting blown up or shot or was involved in so many contacts.
But you got your good write-up.
I got my good write-up.
Recommended for Special Forces.
Yeah.
Which, very, very impressive. I heard about that.
Cheers, Si.
Well done to that.
You did read my report, I remember. When we were in Jackson.
And what did I say? I've got terrible memory. Go remind me, what did I say?
I think it was, I didn't get one. Oh, how did you get that? I didn't get one like that.
That sounds like it.
Special Forces officer? What is this?
Yeah, there was probably an element of. I'm not sure. Yeah, you could say it's jealousy. I don't know.
That was not. It's not jealousy.
It was just like I was surprised, but I was thinking, what happened? That why he's got this, and now I hear. I think, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but for all this, we've got to give it something. Yeah, and all of that.
I think that was. I think by then, I'd gone from the RMR soldier who had what I'd class as minimal training. Everyone that trained me, RMR was fantastic. Like they're great guys, and I feel like could have definitely. I needed a bit more before I turned up. I hadn't even fired the GPMG before I turned up into theatre, and then next minute I've got it in my shoulder.
Don't worry, you're not the only one.
No, I know.
I hadn't used night goggles.
Yeah, same.
Goggles,
and I was
sent out in a 2-man convoy.
Yeah.
With them. The world looks kind of fluorescent green now.
Yeah.
I never spoke in my life, but I kind of gathered what it's going to be like. Yeah. So you got, was it? What medal did you get from the Americans?
Bronze Star with that.
Bronze Stars. So just to give people an idea, the Bronze Star's below the
Silver Star.
And the silver star's below the
Medal of Honor.
and the Medal of Honours
No, that's the highest.
the highest. So where's the purple star? Purple.
The Purple Heart's for if you get injured.
Oh, okay.
Mine's for
So you got one below, one.
2 below.
Yeah, two below the top tier. That's really good. So tell us about that story before we move on.
It's not a nice story. Lost really good friend. Big patrol was out and they got hit by multiple IEDs. So had Americans attached and guys from my troop, and also the troop next to us. We were like the QRF, Quick Reaction Force, that came out to assist them because they had 5 casualties. We came out. I was point man. I had my corporal behind me, and as we were working our way there was another explosion, like quite close over the river, and then we were moving pretty quick. I went through the river up, and there was a wall in front of me and like a gap, and as I came through I literally stepped and something was going off in my brain, and I was like, this is not right. So then I took my foot back, had a little sweep in my hand, and there was a pressure plate right there. So then anyway, I have to call back to everyone else, like, back up, because there's another bomb here. Get back into the river, find another tripwire with a grenade on. Leighton, the other point man who was with me the whole tour, fantastic guy. He found another one, and then we get up, and it's just fucking nightmare. Like, guys with missing limbs. There's a big bomb crater from an old 500-pound bomb. There's a guy down there with like big face injuries. You got mate John, who's just an absolute mess. Poor American guy's been like hurt bad. And then we just start trying, with my corporal, us trying to organise getting everyone out. I had guys, another mate of mine, Luke, had him on a ladder. We were like running with him under fire on a ladder to get him back, like another 300 metres to where we would then pass him over to get him out. And yeah, so I helped with 4 of the 5 casualties and got them all back out. So that was the first incident. And then we scrapped with the Taliban after that for another hour afterwards. So that, and then I was cutting trees down again, climbing, and
All in one day?
No, that was that day. That was enough for one day. Yeah, sadly on that day we lost John Crooks, Justice, who was an American, and then we had 3 bad casualties as well. So yeah, bad day. But it could have been a lot worse, because honestly that ground was just riddled with IEDs everywhere. Then on another occasion, I was up a tree, cutting the tree down, so that the base had better vision on like an area. So I'm up the tree and I'm looking down, looking in this river. I could just see tripwires, like literally tripwires all the way along. They've been snagged like bits of rubbish in the river, so you could see the tripwires basically. But you could only really see them from up the tree. When you're down, they're like in the water. You can't see them at all. So then they asked me, Dan, do you fancy going out tomorrow? And I was like, what to do? And they're like, oh, we want you to take out this American bomb disposal guy and go and find all these bombs that you've told us about. And I was like, yay, can't wait.
And this American guy was a Hurt Locker guy based on the movie.
Hurt Locker Dad. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But that's what I was told. He was like, I heard about him from some friends in Alpha, and he had been out on their patrols, and he was literally pulling IEDs out of the ground. Like, clearly he was like a high-end bomb disposal guy. He was finding like ones made of wood that had like low metal content. Yeah, he'd been flown in just to deal with this threat, basically. And anyway, we had a little briefing in the morning. I said to him, are you really sure you want to go out there and do this by hand, because they had devices by then that they could like lay out and that explode anything that's nearby, and did you really need to be there? Anyway, he assured me that we don't really know what we're doing and that he knows what he's doing, and I was like, okay. Go out and patrol. I take him to where it is and I say, look, there's a bomb there, I could see by then I'd been there 6 months and I was good at PIDing, positively identifying where the bombs were. I said, they're there. So him and his number 2 set off, hands and knees, they get to the first IED, starts defusing it. Yeah, I've got a jug, right? He's pulling it out of the ground, snip, and I was like, fucking hell, that's impressive. Pulling it out of the ground, and then we get a load of movement from civilians down the road, so I'm looking out just in case someone's going to spray us. Then he's like, yeah, okay, we've got one, I've got my corporal behind me, another guy, there wasn't many of us and we were being overwatched, because we were quite close to the main base. We had guys on roofs overwatching us. And he kept saying to me, keep your eyes down there because there's people moving all the time. Then he moves on to the next one. I'm like, yeah, there's definitely another bomb down there. So I'm going along with him. He's crawling on his hands again and then just goes up straight away.
How close were you to him?
5 meters.
So it's directional going up.
Yeah, it went up like that. So I've been knocked back.
About how far?
Yeah, far. I don't know. 10 meters or so. Off my feet. I didn't really know what was going on. Anyway, I just get up, switch my Valen on, because it was just drilled into me, just lights come on, and I'm like, right, am I okay? Got limbs, yeah, I'm fine. Couldn't see anything, I wasn't hurting, the only thing was my ears were ringing. I turn around.
Did you have those ear deafs in the molded ear deaf?
I didn't have anything. I just didn't trust any of it. I had to hear all the time.
Okay.
I just couldn't get used to anything that was in my ears and not be able to hear if someone was creeping around the corner, or I just couldn't do it. I had tinnitus for a little bit afterwards, a few years maybe, but it was my own fault for not wearing them, but at the same time,
yeah, you do what's good for you.
Yeah, I had to.
I had to take mine out because it was making me overheat.
Yeah, and that does happen too.
I need to pass out.
Yeah, that's fair. So anyway, I turn around, everyone's a mess. The number 2 guy is like, I need to find him, damn. Anyway, I call over to my hierarchy and the guys that are Overwatch, can you see him? Does anybody know where he is? But by this time I can tell that the number 2 guy's not right. He's starting to run all over the place, so we had to get hold of him. Then I said, get behind me. I start moving. I find one bomb, got to go around that. Another one, get around that, and I'm basically snaking the guys across the river, up a bank, to get them to safety and up. And yeah, it's literally snaking round 5 bombs just to get the guys out. We get everyone out, up a ladder and away, and then I'm like, right, can anyone see the body? Someone calls out, oh, I can see something that looks like a rag doll, and I was like, yeah, that'll be him then. I'm like, fuck's sake. I look down, and yeah, there he is. Yeah, obviously it's not good.
Yeah.
They found his helmet a long way away, in another part, a long way away. Somehow, clearly I was very lucky. He took the whole blast, and nothing on,
like that,
like that, but nothing on him even hit me. I do feel like I was pretty lucky because the helmet went past me, and at that speed it would have took my head off. So I go to and get him. Again, I'm looking at the ground and I'm like, fuck's sake, there's just more stuff that I'm like, there's clearly something there. And then my stripy smudge goes, damn, we're getting you out. You're not going to go and get him. So, and I get out, and that was it. That was that lovely experience.
And that's what the medal was for.
Yeah, for those two.
Mm-hmm.
For those two events, and then, to be fair, in the citation it says for consistent valor and dedication to duty, written in an extreme American way.
Is there anything that you would have done different over this whole tour?
Other than the obvious things like say to the patrol that was out there, don't go there. Even though, you know, most of the time I didn't really know what was fully going on all the time. Other than having hindsight and saying don't go there so I didn't lose friends and people didn't die, which, to be honest, was out of my control. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't have done anything personally different. I feel like I put my all into it, especially when it came to trying to save people, contacting the enemy. I feel like I did the best I could with what I was then. I'm content with how it went, and I sleep well at night. Even though it was carnage.
Well, I appreciate that story, the whole hearing your whole journey, Dan. I'm sure next time we do the interview, which will be based on the readjusting back to civilian life, which will probably be another 2 hours.
Yeah, easily.
And stuff, and then there'll probably be a third part about the career of where you are now and how you're going in life.
Yeah, man.
But thanks a lot.
No, dude, it's been absolutely awesome to see you. Genuinely.
And okay.
Thank you.
We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.